Hi, Siri. I'm looking for a new podcast, one that preferably is hosted by a UF Hall of Famer, one that airs every weekday that would bring me everything I need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions. Siri, is there such a show?
Have you heard of PodUp with Matthews in the morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or any podcast platform?
Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? UF Hall of Famer Shane Matthews has a show every weekday. I'm gonna go check it out tomorrow. Thanks, Siri.
Good morning, live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. Fine jewelry, watches, and much more. Go check them out. Family owned and operated with the largest selection of natural diamond jewelry. We got a good show lined up today. We'll have JC momentarily, then we'll have Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider give you all your picks that you need for March Madness, which cranked up last night. If you missed it, Alabama State throws a Hail Mary from one baseline to the other. And as they teach you in football, you knock it down. You don't try to catch it. And it deflects into behind the St. Francis players, and the Hornet from Alabama State catches it and lays it in for the win. And they move on and they face the Auburn Tigers, which too bad they can't just play this one. They're like 100 miles apart. They got to travel wherever to go play this game. But then North Carolina just destroys San Diego State. And you got a couple of games tonight as well. Baseball wins over JU. They hit three-run homers. And softball plays tonight at JU. So let's go to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We're joined by Johnny Chalk.
Yeah, Johnny Chalk. He's got it all. I tell you, I feel bad for Alabama State. I have a feeling Bruce Pearl.
Why do you feel bad for them? They just won the first time they've ever won a game in the tournament.
Yeah. I mean,
they know they have zero chance of playing.
Yeah, they have zero chance. Auburn. Yeah, the game's in Lexington QB, and I think Auburn. Bruce Pearl was asked the question as whether or not he feels his team is panicking because of the way they ended the season, and he got pissed. So I don't know why he got pissed. It's just a question. It's not like, hey man, I just stepped and ran over your dog, and I'm laughing about it. But he got upset. So Auburn's going to take no prisoners, I think, in the first two rounds of this tournament. You know, Bruce Pearl, Todd Golden, and John Shire are three Jewish coaches, all ranked or all top seeds. How about that? Ever happened before?
Speaking of that,
never happened before.
Listen to this, JP. I screenshot this last night. I thought it was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up. This is from the NCAA tournament. Here are your Catholic schools.
Okay.
Gonzaga, Creighton, Marquette.
Oh.
The Saints schools, St. Francis, St. John, St. Mary's, Mount St. Mary's, and St. Xavier.
Wow.
Who the hell is St. Xavier? Is that what they call Xavier University?
I didn't know he was St. Xavier, but I guess they want to go
Maybe
with
so.
That. Yeah.
Then you have your mega churches, Grand Canyon and Liberty. And then listen to this one. Your parents got money Christian schools. Wofford, Lipscomb, High Point. And on the bubble, do they count as Christian schools? Baylor, Duke, and BYU. I thought that was kind of interesting.
But you know what? I'll bet you the University of Florida has Catholics and Christians both going.
Oh, I know that. They're going by like.
Yeah, it's cool though. That's a great tweet you read. I don't know who sent that, but that was pretty good. Pretty darn good. Well, you know, Will Wade, who is coaching McNeese State, he's a Clemson Tiger. Did you know that? Yeah, and they're playing Clemson. So the Gators going to leave on today. They're going to leave today. 2 days to get themselves together.
Well, they have media responsibilities.
Yeah, media. That's what Chris was saying. I saw that the other day, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun for anybody who wants to be up there and watch this team. The number one seed, though, I'm taking all number one seeds. I'm taking Florida, taking Houston, taking Duke, and taking the Auburn University. But the number one seed has won this thing 13 out of the last 17 years. So one of those could be right if the trend holds this way. 13 out of the last 17 years, the number one seed is won. Here's another trend for you, and I'm sure Brian Edwards will be into this when we talk about it. But 13 seeds, the number 13 seed, so look on your little bracket and see if you can find a 13 seed that you like. They have won 8 years in a row in the first round. And if you say, yes, they'll do it again, you're basically getting even money on that. So whoever a 13 seed is, you might want to look at that. And then one last one about the 11 seed. I think something about the 11 seed has beaten the 6 seed every year since some time long ago. I had it written down. Why the hell can't I find it? But an 11 seed has beaten a 6 seed every year. They were 3-1 straight up last year, the 11 versus the 6, and they are 30-26 since the year 2010. And they've beaten the 6 seed every year for the last 21 years. So there's another little tip for you as you fill out your brackets for 11 seeds. Take a look at 11 seeds if you want to go with trends. If you don't, then pick the 6.
Yeah. 31 Burr says, any update on Lagway's shoulder? Heard nothing. He also says, congratulations to Billy Horschel and the Atlanta Drive for making the TGL finals. Did you watch that inning, JC?
I was eating some brisket or something last night out in some place
out in the woods,
Putnam County, and in front of a lake, and talking to a guy that was trying to shoot a turkey and just is coming up blanks right now. So hopefully that'll change for his turkey luck. We need to get him a turkey. So I was out. There was no TV. Sometimes when you leave home in the comforts of home, you go out to a place and you venture out into the wild. You just don't have the comforts of home. Sometimes the TVs don't work. Sometimes things just so you know what you end up doing. You end up talking to people. So that's what we did.
Very true. Very, very true. All right. So,
how about by the way, but I just got to mention this. We saw North Carolina bury that poor team last night. Had no business playing them. The athletic director is a guy named Bubba Cunningham. Bubba Cunningham is the athletic director of North Carolina. He is the executive director pick guy for the March Madness selection committee. Isn't that interesting? And he gets a $115,000 bonus if the Tar Heels make the tournament. And by golly, there they were last night. So congratulations to Bubba. He's got some summer spending money because his school.
Maybe he'll use it on NIL money.
That's right.
But look,
amazing.
Regardless of what North Carolina did last night, look, they played well. Apparently,
they did.
They still didn't deserve to be in the tournament.
No,
but they're in it.
Yeah.
Hell, they could go to the Final Four.
Hey, they're favored over Ole Miss, by the way, in case you wondered.
Well,
they're favored by a point and a half.
Chris Spears is a phenomenal coach.
I hope Ole Miss beats them. By God, I'm rooting for every SEC team. I'd love to see all 14 SEC teams win in the first round. I don't know if it'll happen. Probably won't. But if you
I think it will. I think a couple of them will get beat.
Yeah, they will. But if you're looking at SEC, the total number of wins over under is 20.5, and it's even money if you take the over. So you count all the wins when it's all over, and if the SEC has 21 wins, you win that bet.
Yeah. Somebody asked on here, Zach, can you post the bracket on all the different things again today? Some people may have missed it the last couple of days, but you have up till probably noon tomorrow to get your bracket done. And we'll ask the great staff what all is going to be in the prize pack here in the next couple of weeks once it's all said and done.
Did you do a bracket, QB? I mean,
I tried. I did find my password.
Oh.
I was trying to work on it last night, but I forgot, and I will do it today, probably. Okay. It's not on my priority list.
Well. I'll do one. There have been years where I've done 3 just because I want to pick different.
Well, this one you don't have to pay for, JC. You may win an autographed something from the head ball coach. You may get something to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill.
Wow. I do have some.
We don't know what's going to be in the prize pack, but it costs you nothing. And all you have to do is just click buttons on ESPN.
Oh, man.
I think it's ESPN. Yeah, so it's on the screen now, folks. It is ESPN.
All right. I'm so excited about this segment with Brian Edwards coming up. I mean, we're just going to talk about so many trends, but for helping people fill out their bracket. But I'm just curious what, I'm sure most of our viewers and listeners are definitely putting Florida into that national championship.
I would say, I don't know how many, we have a ton of people signed up. I looked at it briefly.
That's great.
But let's just say there's 100.
Yeah.
I bet you all 100 of them have the Gators win the national title.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. And
so then it's going to come down to how you did leading up to that, and then your score of the finals.
That's what it's going to come down to in this particular. That's right. But I'm also curious. Who do they think Florida's going to end up playing? I'll bet it's probably in most likelihood Duke. Duke or Houston. I mean, this is just, to me, these four teams, the top seeds, are just a cut above everyone else with the way they are currently playing. But that does not mean they're going to get through the Elite Eight. There are some teams in Florida's bracket that I think are very dangerous. I think certainly St. John's is dangerous. And I certainly think you're going to see a Maryland team or a Texas Tech team potentially get in the way. San Francisco's a long damn way from home. I mean, it's as far away as you can get other than Seattle, let's just say. And it's just, I like the NCAA tournament, but my God, it seems like a big waste of time to have to go all the way out to San Francisco to play a damn game. I mean, it's just the way it is. That's the way the tournament is. You can't bitch about it, but.
Well, that's it. QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief, no surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule a free consultation at QC Kinetics. Let me get to a couple of these texts here on the Titan of our text line. This is from Kevin. He says, we do seem to have players that care deeply for each other. One of the coolest things I saw was when our scout team guard got a basket and the entire bench cleared. I thought they were going to get teed up. Yeah, that was when Bennett Anderson, I think that's his name, out of Tampa, scored against Alabama, maybe? I can't remember who it was.
Well, QB, you and I both agree that Walter Clayton is probably the best to put on the shoes here and run around Florida. But there was one player that I think could have probably matched him in every skill set. And that one player only played at Florida 1 year. Can you tell me who I'm thinking about?
Is it in my lifetime as a Gator?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Bradley Beal.
Very good.
Yeah, Brad, look, but Bradley Beal was here for 1 year. I think Bradley Beal is one of the best players we've ever had.
Absolutely.
Because we've seen what he's done as an NBA player. I'm talking about when he laced up it and put on a jersey that said Gators or Florida. That's all I care about. Right? It's all those, it's those people that bash Tim Tebow because not the Gator fans, but the national people, because he was not a great pro quarterback. He didn't last, right? It does not matter. If you're a Gator fan, you don't care what anybody does as a professional. Well, it's when they put your helmet on of your school.
And that's kind of the argument you've made, and I agree with the Ring of Honor, whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, it's out of whack. It's out of whack.
It's out of whack. Yeah.
Because, as I said, and the people that are up on that Ring of Honor, now that you've brought that up, Tim and Danny, obviously, Coach Spurrier, obviously.
All right.
I was not around for Wilbur. I know Wilbur was damn good with the Super Bowl shuffle and the Chicago Bears, and I know he was a great outside linebacker.
Unbelievable player.
But people, and again, same thing with Jack Youngblood.
Yes.
I think his legacy comes from playing with a broken leg for the Rams or something. I don't know. And then I love Emmett, but Fred Taylor and Eric Rhett deserve to go in before he does as a Florida Gator.
No, that's all about his pro career. There's no doubt about it. And look, Emmett was good with Florida. I mean, he really was. He's all they had. They had no offense, and he was the only guy carrying the water on that entire offensive team. He had the misfortune of having to play under a bunch of guys and offensive coordinators who were stuck in the 70s. But you're right. I mean, that Emmett Smith thing is about the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. Daryl says on the Titan Mar text line, I think this team is better than the 04s. I think they're more athletic and they're deeper and they're better shooters, and it's a different style of play too.
I'm amazed at how deep Florida is on their roster. My God, 10 deep and more than that if you need them. It's just crazy. I mean, out of nowhere comes Urban Clapchar launching nukes. Out of nowhere comes Micah Handlogden, who just got well and decided to play in the SEC tournament and a little bit before that. And Hawk, this guy Hawk, he goes up and down the court like a guard. He can rebound like a center, or a big, as they now like to call it. You remember, I was the 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center. Now it's bigs and smalls and 1s and 2s and 4s. But, I think this team is incredible. I just hope that they really don't let the moment get a hold of them, and I don't think they will. I think they're going to go out and just blast. They're going to absolutely blast, and they're going to bury Norfolk State. We know that. I would even cover the 20-something at 28 or 29. I think they'll win by 30-something. And they'll get a lot of guys in the game. And then it's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be UConn instead of Oklahoma. But if it's Oklahoma, we've already seen what they can do to Oklahoma. My God. So I hope it's UConn, honestly, because I'd like to just take Danny Turley and bury him. I'd like to see him lose by 20-some-odd points or whatever. But we'll see how it works out. It's in Raleigh, North Carolina, folks. Get on up there. You still got time.
This day in sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. 1966 NCAA basketball championship. You know what happened in that game, JC?
In '66, I was only 2. I missed it.
Right, but this is a historical championship game.
Oh, Lou Alcindor.
No,
UCLA.
no. Kentucky loses to some team that they probably weren't supposed to lose to.
Oh, West Texas State.
Texas Western.
Yeah, Texas Western. That's right. Who eventually became El Paso.
UTEP.
Yep.
UTEP.
Eventually became the minor.
Wasn't that?
Yeah.
Texas Western was all black and Kentucky was white.
That's exactly right. And Rupp, the Adolph Rupp was the coach for Kentucky, and Don. Anyway, he was the legendary coach for UTEP, who ended up being there for most of all of his career and won some ridiculous amount of games. He's a Hall of Fame coach, and for some reason it escapes me. But that's exactly right. That's a great. Now that is a moment in history that's worth mentioning here on the old podcast.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Another moment here we need to mention, because Tony gets very upset about this on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mello. He swears people forgot Mike Miller played here. He could have dropped 40 a game anytime he wanted. Look, Mike Miller was phenomenal. Chandler Parson was phenomenal. Scotty Wilbeck, all these guys. I agree. But all these guys. If I need somebody with the ball in their hands to win the game, I'm going number 1. I'm going number 1. So now we got people chiming in about how about Scott Brantley? I mean, Scott probably deserves to be in the Ring of Honor.
That poor guy got hurt, and he had concussion issues, but he was one of the best linebackers you'll ever watch.
Yeah,
he truly was. When he was healthy, he was a headhunter. They played on cement that had a green rug on it, and their helmets, QB, you could buy at Kmart back.
Well, I mean, look,
there's
a helmet.
There it is.
Here's a helmet. Look at the inside of that joker.
Yeah.
This is from the era of 64 through 68 in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, it didn't seem to get much better in 78 and 79 either. But Scott Brantley was a great Gator. But, when you do Ring of Honor, you have to get greater than just great. I think the Ring of Honor has to have, in Dallas, you've got all those Hall of Fame players, and there's a lot of room up there. For Florida, you don't have as many, so I think you really got to be specific to who gets to go up there.
Well, the only other person that can go in is Urban.
Okay,
because he won the national title. You have to be. We've gone through this countless times.
Okay, well, and let me just say this: I'm the first guy who's admitted that I've been very critical of Scott Strickland, the way he's managed the athletic department in terms of hiring stuff, coaches and whatnot. This Todd Golden hire is turning out to be as good as, and hopefully as good as, the Billy Donovan hire that Jeremy Foley luckily made. And the reason for that is because of how quickly it's turned around for Florida basketball. And remember, when he came from San Francisco, nobody was talking about Todd Golden. And San Francisco, the Dons were not a school that was on our radar screen. And Scott Strickland, to his credit, because you got to give a guy credit now when you're criticizing him all the time, because when he does something well, he found something in Todd Golden that he liked. And Todd Golden has proved to be one of the biggest up-and-coming coaches in basketball today. And certainly with the way this team plays, everybody's in love with him right now, which kind of scares me. But you got to give Scott Strickland a little bit of credit here, because we've been very critical of him, but certainly he has come through big time for the Florida Gators basketball. And I think his patience with Billy Napier may turn out to be a real asset for the school. And, of course, Kevin O'Sullivan, he got that stadium going, and everything's great with baseball. So unless you were in Knoxville this weekend.
Well, so I think when you watch Todd Golden and how the team plays, how we run offense, and just the style of play, it's like that. It's very similar to how Coach. I'm not saying he's changing SEC basketball or college basketball, because Nate Oates and those guys, they play fast and they push the basketball. But this dude, I've always said, great coaches just don't fall off trees.
No,
I think he's a great coach. He's got the it factor, and he knows what he's doing.
He can find kids that want to come here to play. That Martin pickup from FAU, nobody was talking about that. And I just love it. I think the guy knows what he's doing. I'm glad they paid him. I'm glad they extended him. I hope that if he wins, they give him bonuses, and he goes on the top of the Cadillac down University Avenue for the parade. Just watch out for those speed bumps on University Avenue. They are absolutely appalling, and they will ruin your suspension if you're going fast. But I guess that's the point, isn't it? So, I drove down University Avenue last night, QB. I thought I was in Manhattan. I mean, the skyscrapers are everywhere.
Yeah,
the buildings. I mean, it's like, wow, this place has gotten big. It really has. So I missed out being out here in the West. Well, it's not the little old Gainesville anymore. It really doesn't seem like it in terms of all these buildings, these monstrosities that are going up just to house people. I'd like to see some businesses roll in. But hey, we've got places where you can flop all over the place, as high as the 12th floor here in Gainesville. So, and this thing they're building out behind the mall, the Oaks Mall, it looks like the Hungarian army barracks or something out there. It looks like a prison. And I don't know where all this damn traffic's going to go behind the mall. There is a 2-lane road that goes from this place to this place, and that's going to be massively inconvenient. But hey,
I haven't seen that building.
Chance. It's oh my god.
But I don't go near the mall, so
it's hideous, QB. It's right behind the mall. But
all right, so let's get to our Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Go visit them at peachlanddental.com. JC picked with his chalk picks, Johnny Chalk picks. He picked Roy McIlroy last week.
I did. And
so well, now we head down to Copperhead, Innisbrook, and should be a good golf tournament.
Tough course, tight drives, lots of dog legs. Guys that are trying to work on their driver definitely need to be here for this tournament. So I'm going to take a guy that had a really good round and a bunch of mediocre rounds at TPC, and that would be Justin Thomas, who I think if he can ever figure out that driver is going to win something big this year. I like his short game and his putting, but man, he's got to be accurate off the tee. And if he can't hit it in the fairway, he's going to die at this course. So I'm betting that he's going to be accurate off the tee box at Copperhead and challenge to win this tournament.
Are you writing these down?
I am writing them down.
Okay, so I will take Sahith Theegala.
You know, that guy, he plays everything, but he's still looking for that elusive first win. I'm going to take the septic tank. I think this guy has been playing a lot of golf, and I think he's got the endurance to continue playing. He may take a week off when they go to Texas, but Sepp Straka to me is the guy that is just kind of always around the leaderboard. So give me Sepp, the septic tank. He's the tank.
All right. I want Jake Knapp. Have you watched Jake Knapp play, JC?
Yeah.
Jake Knapp may have the smoothest swing on tour. Yeah. And just murders the golf ball.
It flies forever. And all these kids are hitting the ball. These guys are hitting the ball miles.
You know what's interesting to me? I have a couple of buddies that they're you know they don't think the PGA Tour is what it should be because of those so-called stars are over playing in the live.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't follow golf enough and understand that the young golfers in today's world are surpassing those guys so fast.
I have said the best players on earth play on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
There's just all there's to it. I'm sorry. John Rahm has been a non-factor for so long, I've forgotten him. Let's go with a 2-time winner of this event who has really been kind of struggling, but he is the LSU Tiger that I think really gets well here. And I'm going to go with Sammy Burns. But he has really hit the skids. But he has won this event twice, shockingly. I didn't know that until I heard it yesterday.
Yeah, he won like back-to-back, I think.
Yeah, so I'm going to take – he loves this course. Obviously, it's very good for him. So let's try Sam Burns again. I mean, why not? He'd probably be in the leaderboard. Top 10. If you don't get the win, you can go top 10 or top 20 even on the Hard Rock and make some money.
All right, so I'm going to go with an oldie but goodie.
Okay.
I hadn't picked him, but he drives me crazy now. But I'm going to go Ju Young Kim. Tom Kim.
And why is he driving you crazy?
Because he takes forever standing over the golf ball now.
So slow. They study everything, those Korean golfers. They're very analytical. And I'm not saying they're all the same. I'm just simply saying that seems to be a trait of the Korean golfer. Jordan Spieth is my next pick.
You already picked him.
No, I took Justin Thomas, homie.
Oh. I could have sworn you took Justin
Spieth. Well, no, I took Jordan Thomas, and now I'm taking Justin Spieth.
Justin Spieth, okay.
Can I have him, please?
You can have him. You can have him. All right, how many picks is that? 4?
That's 4.
All right, I got one more pick.
All right.
Who do I want? I'm scrolling through these guys here.
Jordan.
I'm I feel like Corey Connors. This is kind of
Oh, that was the one I had written down. Okay.
Yeah, he's got a Canadian flag by his name though, but I still like him.
Yeah, I know it's not his fault. That's where he was born. But Corey Connors is playing some really solid golf. Nothing extravagant, but he's definitely on the leaderboard. Seems every week the guy is somewhere lurking around. The Snake Pit, 16, 17, and 18, QB. You've played it. I'll tell you, there's another course down there called the Island Course, which
I think it's harder in Copperhead.
I agree. That Island Course ate me alive when I played that. Lost about 4 balls. It was horrible. But Corey Connors is a good pick. I like that pick. Yeah.
Okay, so recap who we have on the Peachland Dental.
Okay, so I got Jordan Thomas. I got Septic Tank. I got Justin Spieth. And I got Sonny Burns. And you've got Sahith Theegala, John Knapp, Tom Kim.
No, his John Knapp.
Shake Knapp. It's the way we're playing right now. We're playing slow. And by the way, that's a good trait for the first half in this tournament. First half unders seem to hit a lot in the NCAA tournament. And we're playing slow right now, you and me, QB. I don't know what it was or what it is. But and then you've got, of course, Corey Connors. So
Corey Connors. All right. Barone71 on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, who do y'all think will be the second and third most picked team to win it all in our bracket pool? It's safe to assume Florida is the chalk.
Right. Yeah.
He's talking about all the great listeners around the world
everywhere
on the podcast.
Every time
I would probably say Duke might be thrown in there and a few Houstons.
Yeah, that's it. There you
I don't think many Gator fans are going to pick the Auburn Tigers.
So, are you now Shane Chalk?
No, that's not who I'm picking. That's who I think out of all our listeners, beside the Gators, who they pick will win it all.
So if Florida, shockingly doesn't win the region, I guess the best guess would be either Texas Tech, Maryland, or St. John's. I just really think that the teams.
That's not what he's asking, Jason.
No, I know. You're talking about going to win the damn. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. I'm just going further down the road here and thinking about Florida's bracket. I don't think it's the easiest bracket. I think it's one of the 2 top hardest, and I think Duke's got the easiest draw. I think Duke has definitely got the easiest bracket. Houston's bracket doesn't look necessarily that difficult when you've got Purdue as a 4 seed. Purdue, really, you got to tell me that Purdue is one of the top 16 teams in the country. Purdue, team that got blown out by the Big Ten champion Michigan Wolverines, who gets to play on a Friday. Purdue is a 4 seed. I don't see that. I don't see Wisconsin as a 3 seed, frankly. So I think that bracket Houston's got is just not all that hard when Tennessee is your 2 seed. And Tennessee is a team that's been beaten plenty of times this year. So I don't know. I like Houston's chances a lot in the Midwest, very much so. They're going to play in Wichita, which is not far. Then they go to Indianapolis, big little that's a A319 for 2 hours up there from Houston to Indianapolis. No big deal. So
text on the Titan or text line.
Yeah.
From Jimmy. Jimmy says, Shane, what's going on with the softball team? Well, they're 3-3 in conference play. They won the series in College Station. They lost the series at home to Texas, who's number 2 in America. We're number 3. You don't have your stud pitching. They got a true freshman pitching, Caitlin Oxley, red they call her. She's got long red hair. Look, it's all about if you've got stud pitching. Look, we got plenty of bats, but it's gonna. I mean, as long as we just hang, I want to just say hang in there in conference play. Once Rothrock gets back, then it's on like Donkey Kong.
It is all about Rothrock to me.
Yeah. So they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, her injury is not.
Well, I don't know what her injury is, but she's been out for almost a month now.
Well, then maybe it is a problem. Why don't you call your friend Tim and find out there, QB? Breaking news story.
I'm not going to be that guy.
But Buddy Martin would be so proud of you.
I know he would, but I'm not going to be that guy.
Buddy Martin demands journalistic excellence out of you, QB.
But he fails to realize is I'm not a journalist.
You're a world-renowned freaking podcaster.
That I just get on here and bull crap with people, right?
They would love you to break a story, QB. They'd love that. You got the inside track.
Yes.
Just
all right, so JC, before we get to
Brian Edwards,
we get to Brian. We talk a little NCAA tournament. Tonight's game, I don't know who the 16 games are, but the other game is kind of intriguing. Texas SEC team is playing Xavier. That's an interesting game.
I think it is. Texas comes in as a 3-point underdog in this one, and Xavier is a team that many thought deserved to get in, as they did, of course. But I'm just sticking with the league, man. I think the SEC was such a gauntlet that it just makes teams better when they get to situations like this. That's just a theory. It doesn't mean it's true. I just think that when they get to a pressure situation, because you played in such a grind out league, that you're just a cut above these 8-10 teams or these Horizon League teams, or definitely these Mountain West teams. I mean, look at what North Carolina did to those poor guys in San Diego last night. So I think the grind helps you in the tournament like this. And with 3 days off, these 20-year-olds are fine. They've got plenty of rest. They'll be fine. And so I think Texas played well in the tournament. They really did. And in the SEC tournament, and I think they go ahead and beat Xavier tonight. I'm taking the Horns plus 3.5 all day.
Yeah.
Athletes everywhere.
Let me see. He's not on yet. But real quick, JC, we got a text on the Titan Mark text from George. He says, "Hey guys, what's y'all's favorite golf course to play in the Jacksonville area?"
Well, you have done that.
My two favorite courses in the Jacksonville area would be Timuquana and Pablo Creek.
Oh, Pablo Creek is good, man. I guess I'm not quite as high up on the level as that because those courses are hard. Many of them are hard.
Well, I love Timuquana because it's so old school.
Yeah, it is good. I like here's one that nobody really talks about, and it's the course opposite of the TPC. It's the oh, for goodness sakes, I just played it last year in his member guest.
It's the
Valley course. The Valley course.
The Valley. Yeah, it's a good golf course too.
I like that course there. I've always liked the Ponte Vedra Inn, but they redid it, so I don't know what that's like. And honestly, I play more down in St. Johns County than I do in Duval. So, yeah. But you're right about Pablo Creek. That I'd say that's probably definitely up there in the top 3 for sure. That's a fantastic course. So is Timuquana. That's where Mickelson and those guys play. I mean, that place is big time. That's high dollar stuff right there. So good luck to you if you're playing there. Bring plenty of balls. Who asked that question? Yeah. George, bring plenty of balls, my man. Of course, he could be a scratch golfer for all I know.
Yeah, George may not lose balls like you, JC. play with the range ball.
Me and Jordan Thomas are just losing balls everywhere, QB.
Jordan Thomas.
Yeah, although, and I have 3 witnesses, I did get 15 out of 18 fairways and greens at Juliet Falls last week. I did hit it well on Friday. So actually, that was Saturday. So.
All right. Well, while we're waiting on Brian Edwards for here real quick.
Take a break.
Baron's got a great question, but Baron throws this to me at 8:32 in the morning. I have no time to really think about it. He goes, QB.
Yeah.
If you could pick a starting Gator wide receiver and tight end group to throw to, who would it be? Can't be anyone that you played with, other eras.
I could read out.
Yeah, well, my first one was Percy Harvin.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I think Percy's the greatest Gator to ever play with the ball in his hands that I ever saw. I always like to say what I ever saw. That's starting from 88 to today.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good question. Let me think about it. That's a good question to talk about in the summertime.
There's one guy you never saw play that played in the 70s who was as good as anybody.
Wes Chandler.
A guy named Wes Chandler.
I saw him play for the Saints.
And the Chargers.
Yeah.
Man, he did amazing things. But he was all they had, really. They never had a quarterback in those days that got the ball to the receivers the way you guys did with Danny and yourself and Cresser and Rex. They never had anybody like that. And if Wes Chandler had a player like that, oh, Lord. But he was good. He was a miracle player. He truly was one of the best ever.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break before we go to
Come on, Brian. If not, I got
31 Ember on YouTube brought to you by Quality says, Timuquana and Pablo talk about chalk. The public golf scene up here in Jax is bad. Oh, no, 31 Ember. Come to Alachua County. It's worse than Iraq playing golf. It's so bad.
Worse than Iraq. Gainesville.
We got one decent really unbelievable greens at the Boston golf course.
Gainesville. Yeah, Boston's a great place to go, but if you're looking for amenities and parking, forget about it.
All right,
Gainesville.
JC, we're going to take a quick time out.
Get Brian up.
We're going to come back, and I got to give Brian a call. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Unleash the inferno.
Naysayers, setbacks, injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, Dave & Buster's, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Meals Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Signs, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Okido America, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. There are many car washes in Gainesville, but only one Gallo Car Wash, locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations on Northwest 13th Street and Southwest Williston Road, and coming soon to Joe.
Yeah, QB.
Back to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We got JC. We got Brian Edwards going to be joining us in just a second. Kind of overstuff. He's on Central Time, so we'll give him a break. We won't find him at this
Yeah. Yeah. Well, QB, when you played for the Bears, you were on Central Time. Of course, you lived
Love
there.
it. I grew up in Central Time.
I love
best
Central
time.
Best time. Totally best time. Nothing starts too early and ends too late.
Yeah. Asa has a question here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Good morning, guys. Why, with Auburn fading down the stretch, they get an easy bracket and number one seed? We win the SEC, get the toughest number one bracket with Oklahoma, UConn winner second round.
I think he's got a good case there.
He does. I think all the brackets were set. Let's be honest.
They were.
They didn't make any adjustments. I feel like Florida should at least, by winning the SEC, maybe move to the 2 spot.
100%.
Yeah. And I putting my Gator hat on, I think they should be the number one overall seed because of what they did. However, if you look at the body of work, Auburn has a all-time record of the most quad one wins in a season. So
right. Well, I do have a Gator hat on, and I definitely think 2 and not 4. But like you say, QB, at some point you're going to put your shoes on, you're going to run out there and just battle whoever's on the other side, and it's not going to matter. But I do think Asa is correct in the lack of, I think, attentiveness from the committee in some of these seedings. The fact that Purdue is a top 16 team is a joke to me. And same with Wisconsin, a 3 seed. Really, you got to give me Wisconsin. And look at Kentucky; they're not healthy. They're not healthy at all, and they're going to have a real war on their hands with Troy. And you say they're going to bury Troy. I don't know about that. I mean, Kentucky looked awful against Alabama the other night, and they just don't have the healthy players that they need to make a long run in this tournament. But you're telling me Wisconsin's a 3 seed? Duke has got a cakewalk. They've got a cakewalk, and so that's the love Duke gets. Let's send them to Raleigh, okay, and then we're going to just towed them up I-95 to Newark. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. But we get a 6-hour flight from Orlando or Gainesville or wherever to go to San Francisco, for God's sakes. And I can guarantee you nobody on Fisherman's Wharf is worried about the tournament coming to town. It's just not that kind of place, dude. You just go to San Francisco, you're talking about wine and you're talking about all kinds of weird stuff. You're not talking about, here come the Gators. The Gators are rolling into town. I mean, there'll be a nice traveling contingent that goes with Florida, but we're talking San Francisco. Why didn't they stick someone else out there from the West? Well, maybe it's because nobody out West is worth a damn and really wasn't worth the number 1 seed. When you look at the regionality and the regional bias we have here in this tournament, it's pretty obvious to me that everything's in the East and slightly in the Midwest.
31 Ember on YouTube, brought to you by Quiet Plum, says there's a few decent golf courses in Ocala. There's a ton of great golf courses.
Oh my God, Marion County! Yeah, you really started something with this wide receiver, or somebody did. I mean,
they love. I mean, these are great topics to bring up, especially in the summertime when we ain't got a damn thing to talk about.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to think of that. Probably not this week, but probably in the next month or two. I'm going to jot down who I would like to go in my 11 personnel of the best Gators that I've seen play. I
think the people would love that. Do it for the people, QB. Do it for the wonderful people that watch us every day. Ember and Barone and Taiwan Chisholm and Franklin Hall.
I know who my running back's going to
be. Huh?
I know who my running back's going to be.
No, yeah, you said it over and over again, and he should be a Hall of Fame player, yeah. Hall of Fame recognized player.
Freddie T will be lined up. I'm gonna put him to the side because in this little discussion, I'm gonna play out of the shotgun since I never got to play out of the shotgun.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get 3 wides and a tight end. If I can't find a tight end, and I won't, we may just go 4 wides.
Well, go with Ben Troop. You love him. And yeah. You were just before the shotgun really hit Spurrier. It hit him with Danny.
No, I used to beg for the shotgun.
Yeah. Well, when Danny almost got murdered in Tallahassee, I think Steve finally figured it out. But we've got to protect him a little bit better because I don't know how Danny walked off the field at Doak. I don't know how he walked off.
Yeah.
I don't know how you walked off the field in '92. I don't know how you walked off the field.
Well, I didn't. I had surgery the day after. Dan says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mello, Florida didn't move last year either by making the finals. It's like Heisman voters that vote too early. Yeah. So, all right, we're still waiting on Brian Edwards. We'll get here in a second. Yeah. Marcus says Kyle Pitts for my tight end. That's a great pick. That's a great pick.
It is, but I tell you, if you guys remember Ben Troop, that guy never dropped a thing, and he was one of my favorite Gator tight ends. Ben Troop.
Maybe we'll instead of me coming up with this, we'll have JC. If you played quarterback, who would you want to have your 4 wide receiver all-time Gator?
There's no question for me. It was Reek and Idell because I was Reek and Idell. It was Ike and Reedell.
Hang on a second. Reek and Idell.
Just like Jordan and Justin. What the hell is wrong with us, QB? God almighty.
I love that.
When Reek and Idell. Well, listen. I was covering these guys in the 90s on TV 20, and those were the 2 best wide receivers I saw at Florida at the time. So I'm going to go with Reek and Idell. But Idell.
What is Quezzy's name there?
Oh, Lord. Yeah, I know. Oh, man, God help us. But, Reedell Anthony was not only was he a great player, that guy was funny. He was one of the best interviews I ever had. He had so much creativity. He played for Tampa Bay, I think, the Bucks. And then of course Ike Hilliard, he played for the Giants, I want to say. Yep. So Ike Hilliard was he was one of those Louisiana guys that came to Florida. It's like, my God, how do we get him out of there? Dalton Hilliard, all those players. But those were those two guys outside. And then, of course, I'm with you 1,000% on Fred Taylor. Not only was he strong and could run you over, but he was the fastest damn running back that doesn't look like he's running fast. And when you watched him run, nobody caught him, either in Gainesville or Jacksonville. And then, of course, Eric Rhett had the most yards because he was just an absolute he was a workhorse. He was like the 737 that the Boeing flies. It flies everywhere. Yeah, that guy, Eric Rhett, was your guy, and he he really did a lot of wonderful things for the school. So on the football field. So,
From Jonathan on the Titan of our text line, he says, JC, what upsets or good picks
yeah.
do you have for us tomorrow? Since you're not
Yeah,
on
this
the
is
show?
this is a great question. This is kind of what I was going to get with. The most bet underdogs are McNeese, Grand Canyon, Arkansas, and Akron, along with High Point. I'm not buying High Point. I don't think they have beaten a quad one team in 2 years. So keep your eye on High Point. They're not gonna win that game, but they are catching some points. But the underdogs, that if you're doing just the bracket or if you're betting on Hard Rock, it's two different things, because you don't have to win the game if you're taking an underdog on the Hard Rock because you're getting points. If you're doing a bracket, you've got to find a Cinderella. I definitely think Cinderella is tougher to pick than just a winner who's an underdog. But in terms of underdogs, I like Georgia, I like Arkansas, and I like Bryant. Bryant is getting 17 points. This is a team that can absolutely fill up the basket. They have got a lot of older players on their team. And I like California, San Diego. UC San Diego. It's not the same as the University of San Diego. It's the University of California at San Diego. Different team. These are the Tritons, and they're going to give Michigan a hell of a battle. That line has gone from 4.5 to 2.5. All the money's on San Diego, and I guess I would talk to Brian about this. But the reason for that is that San Diego makes you turn over the ball, and the biggest problem for Michigan is their offensive efficiency. They're right somewhere in the 300s. They're very low, and they have a propensity of turning over the ball, Michigan. So I would say if you're just going to pick a team to win outright and on your bracket, and you're looking for an underdog, look at the Tritons of California, San Diego. That's a team that I think could actually win outright in their game against the Michigan Wolverines. And I think Michigan got screwed on the seeding. I also like Colorado State to win as an underdog. I think they can win outright against Maryland. I'm sorry, not Maryland, but Memphis. They're playing Memphis. Memphis is missing one of their best players. I think Colorado State, the winners of the Mountain West, could be a team that comes in and takes that game and wins that game outright. So as an underdog, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I also like the fact that a lot of these games are slow starting. So if you're looking at totals and you want to go under, the first half unders are 258, 193, and 17 in the first round. So that's 58% that you have an edge on the first half unders. In terms of conferences and total wins, I like the SEC. The number is 20.5. Look, if you got the Gators winning 4 times or 6 times, that's 12, or 5, that's 5. And you multiply that times 2 with, let's say, the Auburn Tigers, right there, you're over almost halfway there to 20.5. You just need some of these first and second round games to go our way in the SEC. So I'd look at that.
Franklin on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says he heard Drake is getting some love. Do you think Drake beats Missouri?
I think they will dumb down the game to play at a pace that Missouri.
They play very slow.
They're very slow. They're catching 6. And if Missouri gets caught in a half-court game, yeah, I think Drake could give them some trouble. But I think Missouri is much more.
You know what's interesting? Do you know an interesting tidbit on Drake, JC?
Yeah.
They have a new coach this year because their coach last year left to go to West Virginia, but he now has left West Virginia and he's now at Indiana. But so they hired a Division II coach. He brought like 5 of his Division II players.
Oh, that's right. He sure did.
Drake.
I heard that story. Yeah.
So it's a great story. We'll see, as you said, they play at a slow pace. It's a huge difference in how Missouri plays.
Very huge. If you're looking at 2 coaches to fade, Rick Barnes is 11-23 against the spread since 2005. Mark Few, the Gonzaga coach, is 23-31 against the spread since 2005. And this year, Gonzaga is 15-19. So Georgia is playing Gonzaga, and I'm going to take Georgia and Mike White and those guys. I thought they really played well at the end of the year, Georgia, and I think they'll get that win over Gonzaga, who does not really impress me overall. And I think Houston, this is not the Gonzaga that we've watched. Everybody falls in love with Gonzaga because they either blow somebody out and they're always in the tournament, but they really play in a weak conference, and St. Mary's is the only team that competes with them in that conference. So I think Georgia and Houston are setting up for a pretty good second-round game. That game's in Wichita. Ole Miss. To reach the Sweet 16, the Mississippi Rebels under Chris Beard are plus 250. So that means if you bet $10, you can win $25 if Mississippi wins 2 games. That means they have to beat North Carolina, and then they have to beat the Iowa State Lipscomb winner. Iowa State's coming in without their best player. That is a beatable team, and I love Mississippi to get to the Sweet 16. There's 2 more wins for you on that SEC over-under. So Mississippi to Sweet 16, they will play North Carolina, who admittedly is playing better, but remember, North Carolina is still North Carolina. They played an awful team last night, and they were terrible in the first half against Duke, who did not have Cooper Flagg, who we hear about every single minute of every single day because he plays for Duke. So I say that Mississippi is a team that I would definitely have in the Sweet 16, and I love those 2.5 to 1 odds. I think those are great odds. The Big 12, 11.5 teams to go over, or 11.5 wins. The Big 10, 11.5 wins. The ACC, 6.5 wins in this tournament. I would tend to go with the under on the ACC, but they seem to win well or do well in these tournaments in the ACC, but they only got 4 teams. So we'll see how that turns out for them.
Yeah. All right, real quick, JC, before we get out of here, I guess we're not going to have Brian today, but that's okay.
You can call him next week for the Sweet.
Meopolitan Cafe. Discover the ultimate Cuban culinary experience at Meopolitan Cafe. 5 locations in Gainesville, Alachua, and they're far from the best Cuban food north of Miami. Text on the Titan Mark text line from Monty in Virginia. He says, now that Indiana has been fielded and North Carolina's in the tournament, the chances of Ty Golden leaving this year are now very slim. Yeah, I agree.
He's not going there. This guy is a Gator coach. They're gonna raise him again when he wins this tournament. You watch what happens. Strickland loves that was his primary hire. I know Billy Napier is the football coach, but
they don't know. There's no reason. We're getting ready to go off. So real quick.
Next week, maybe for
JC, real quick. From an SEC standpoint,
yes.
Outside Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, what team do you think makes it the longest?
Well, I just mentioned Mississippi.
I think Ole Miss because I think their coach has won everywhere he's been. He's been to the Final Four, Texas Tech. I think they got some big dudes that can get after you. They got good guard play. They play hard. I think it's Ole Miss, quite honestly.
Well, yeah, and I agree.
Everybody's gonna give me hell picking Ole Miss.
No, hell no. Go get some money while you're at it. You can get 2.5 to 1 on Hard Rock to get to Sweet 16. I think that's a play. And I think Arkansas, if they can beat Kansas, they're going to end up playing St. John's, and that's going to be tough for them. But Arkansas is a sneaky little team. They've played well at the end of the year, but I'm with you on Mississippi to get to the Sweet 16. So I like Mississippi, and we'll see. Alabama with Grant Nelson can be dangerous if he's healthy. I don't know how healthy he is, but they say he probably won't play Friday night. They won't need him against Robert Morris. They'll play him on Sunday in all likelihood if they win that game against Robert Morris against either Vanderbilt or St. Mary's. So I think Alabama will get to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, John has it asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel. Has it been said if the injury for the Nelson guy for Alabama any significant? No, I don't think there was any damage done. I don't think he's playing in the first game, right?
Right. So he'll be out Friday in all likelihood, according to Nate Oates. But then his availability for Sunday is much better. There's a much better chance he will play on Sunday, and they will need him against either St. Mary's or Vanderbilt, I think. But that's really not the hardest region. That East region is, to me, just a cakewalk for Duke. And if Alabama's healthy, it's a cakewalk for them, frankly. Yeah. I don't think Alabama's going to have any trouble with VCU or Wisconsin or Montana or anybody.
All right. Good stuff, JC.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time. That's JC joining us on the Titan Number Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. Tomorrow we'll have Brent Beard talk college football. We'll have Mike Morgan from the SEC Network get his thoughts on the tournament as well. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.